Hey everyone, this is Alex out here in a small little suburb of Vietnam outside of Ho Chi Minh City, and I'm spending a couple of days here while I plan out my year and see what adventures are in store for this year. And it's a good spot to kind of relax and contemplate and think about what was great about 2015 as well as what I'm going to be doing this year in 2016 in terms of travel and adventures, where I'm going to live and all that kind of stuff. So what I want to do in this video is tell you a little bit about my year in 2015, where I traveled to and lived in over 5 different new countries, which was an amazing experience. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I did that, how I managed to finance it, and then we can go into a couple of tips on how you can do that yourself, what kind of options you have, and I'll give you a couple of tips on ways to go about doing this. So 2015 was by far the most adventurous and probably exciting year of my life. I did so many different things, and let me go into that briefly so you can get a sense of what I did. So I started out my year finishing off my teaching English in Korea contract. I spent a year teaching English there, and you can check out the videos on my channel, which the majority of which have been from that period, so you can see what it was like. And that was a great time. I spent the first couple of months finishing off my contract and spending my last bit of time in South Korea, where it was very, very cold. I had the whole fleece hood jacket. I remember it was snowing and stuff when I left. And then went straight across to Thailand, where I spent a few months. And Thailand was absolutely fantastic. I lived in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, the 2 biggest cities, which are exciting and chaotic and fun. And then I went and spent an entire month on Koh Samui Island, which is just this amazing island. And we stayed in this absolutely insane paradise villa, which had an infinity pool. It was architecturally designed just to be like really modern and beautiful. And we spent a whole month there, which was definitely a highlight of the year, with a group of friends from all over the world. So lots and lots of fun. And then I also traveled through Laos to a place called Vang Vieng, which has some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. You can tube down the river, and spend some time in the capital, Vientiane. And then I headed over to Vietnam, where I set up for a while, and I've been here since. And I also took a week-long trip over to Malaysia, where I spent a week in Kuala Lumpur, and you can actually see my video series that I made on that. So, I did all that in a year, which was insane, absolutely awesome. And let me go into a little bit about how I financed that, how I managed to do that and pull it off. Okay, so in terms of costs, traveling can be a lot cheaper than people think, especially long-term travel. And of course, the major factors are, do you have the time and do you have the money? Because if you have the money and the time, then you can kind of travel as long as you want, as long as your money lasts anyway. So what do I recommend for traveling if you do want to spend a good amount of time traveling and you want to do it as cheaply as possible, which most people do, then I would say stick to cheap countries. And when I say cheap countries, I mean just relatively cheap. Like if you go to Southeast Asia versus Japan, you could probably be living in the same country or traveling in the same country in Southeast Asia for about 1/5 of the cost of Japan. So that's the kind of thing you want to bear in mind. So my first kind of tip to you would be to go to very cheap countries if you want to travel for longer and enjoy yourself. And that's basically how I managed to do a whole year of traveling around. So where are good countries to go to? Well, anywhere in Southeast Asia. As you can see, I was in a lot of those countries. And that's an awesome thing to do, because if you go out here, you can live in hostels, travel and stay in hostels for about $5 a night. You can eat very well, great local food for $10 a day. That's a lot. That's a very big budget for Southeast Asia. and then say put on like $5 for extra expenses, so maybe $20 a day, and that's actually like a very good budget for backpacking through Southeast Asia, for example. So that comes to a total of about $500 a month. So of course there's going to be extra expenses including flights and stuff that comes up. So I would budget for $1,000 a month, you know, always just kind of double it up because of stuff you can't factor in. So if you want to travel for 6 months, have about $6,000 in the bank, and you know that will also probably cover all the costs and travel, accommodation, as well as flights, all those kinds of costs. So once you've kind of figured out how long you can go for, then you can just hit the road and do it, and it's really cheap. So that's the first option in terms of how to finance it, is just work at your job back home and save up. Put money aside every month and then take off as long as you want to travel for. Then the other option, and if you've watched any of the other videos on my channel, this is obviously a huge topic I'm always talking about, is teaching English abroad. And there are many options for this. There's South Korea, China, Thailand, here in Vietnam, all kind of fantastic options in their own right. I've personally taught here in Vietnam and in South Korea. I've checked out the teaching scene in Thailand. As well as that, I obviously run my website, which is a job site, which helps people find teaching jobs in all these countries. So I know the scene very well, and financing travel through teaching abroad is one of the most awesome things that you can do, because not only are you there in the country, a new, exciting, interesting country, experiencing it right then and there, but you can save up and travel to other countries too. So overall, it's like a fantastic thing to do. You could just go to one country and stay there and then save money and go straight back home if you wanted, and it'll still be an awesome adventure. Or like me, you can save up a bunch of money after a year of teaching and finance a whole year of travel. Of course, I was working on my business while I was traveling, so you know, I wasn't just partying all the time like, you know, some people do decide to do that. I was doing a bit more of slow travel, you know, kind of spending longer in countries so I could set up, build a network of recruiters, make videos, stuff like that. Okay, so those are my suggestions for 2016 if you want to make it the best year of travel yet. So basically, it's all about the money and time that you have. So if you want to travel, make some time, quit your job, take some time off, save some money, and then if you want to do it more cheaply, do it in cheaper countries where you can travel for $1,000 a month, all inclusive. In fact, you can do it a lot cheaper than that, but that's kind of just to be safe. I'm saying about $1,000 so that you have some leeway there. And then, of course, you can finance it by teaching English abroad, where you can actually live in a country and spend time there, really have a great time living in that country, as well as go and travel to other countries with money you save doing that. All right, that's it from me, Alex from ninjateacher.com. I hope you have an awesome year of travel in 2016. Make sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe if you want more videos about living and traveling and teaching English in Asia. So I'll speak to you soon. Peace.